She was a harlot because she had covered her face. Now, as you can see, they speak of the harlot in Revelations as the great harlot. Speak of a harlot now in Genesis. Let's get into verse 16. Then he turned to her by the way and said, please let me come into you. For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. So she said, what will you give me that you may come into me? And he said, I will send a goat from the flock. So she said, will you give me a pledge till you send it? Now I want to say something right quick and break this down. You know, I spoke about that, you know, being a prostitution, been in the world since the beginning of time. It's something that women learn from their parents, you know, if you really follow the scriptures, you know, because when these prince and these princesses joined each other, or these kings came in and conquered, and they either took the king of that land that was conquered, wife or daughter, into matrimony as a concubine. So there was gifts to be presented. So when I tell you prostitution, that's an old profession. That's something that's been in the world so long that honestly, I don't understand why do women even get those type of charges, you know what I mean? Be charged with prostitution, get charged as a madam. And you know, I say this to you, you know, if y'all can figure the taxes, the government will leave you alone. You can say shop about on any block out here. You got what I'm saying? If you can figure the taxes. Because you can't figure the taxes, or you don't want to figure the taxes, then you will always get charged. And one thing I'm going to say is this right here. If you women get off the drugs, and yeah, my agenda is drugs, informants. That's really the agenda I really be pushing. But if you women can get off the drugs and present yourself to Congress in a respectable manner, you feel me? To present yourself to Congress in a respectable manner, you can set shop up right out on any American public street. Believe what I tell you. You just got to figure the taxes. Let's get back into this reading. When he said, what pledge shall I give you? So she said, your signet and cord, and your staff that is in your hand. Then he gave them to her, and went into her, and she conceived by him. So she arose and went away, and laid aside her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend, the Adullamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, where is the harlot who was openly by the roadside? And they said, there was no harlot in this place. So he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. Also the men of the place said, there was no harlot in this place. Then Judah said, let her take them for herself, lest we be shamed. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months after that, Judah was told, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot. Furthermore, she is with child by harlotry. So Judah said, bring her out and let her be burned. When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man to whom these belong, I am with child. And she said, please determine who these are, the signet and cord and staff. So Judah acknowledged them and said, she has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah, my son. And he never knew her again. Now it came to pass at the time for giving birth that behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was when she was giving birth that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, this one came out first. Now I want to say this to you, because if you're really following me, can't you see how they're sleeping with their daughters? They're sleeping with their their sisters. They're sending their nieces, they're sending their nephews to sleep with their nieces, their cousins and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So it's some stuff in the scriptures that is contradictory. Like, they say that you're not to sleep with your family members. But it's, as you can see, to start life, to keep life going, they did what they had to do to reproduce, right? So what I say to you is this right here, I saw nowhere in these scriptures it was Abraham sleeping with his bloodline child. I saw nowhere in these scriptures Lot, this dude Judah. I saw nowhere that they're sleeping with their direct, child. Their direct child that they, brought into this world. I hear a lot, I read a lot of son-in-law, daughter-in-law, niece-in-law, you know what I mean? A lot of that stuff. So I say this to you, you know what I mean? That's probably why I see nothing wrong with dating a second cousin, a third cousin, a fifth cousin, a fourth cousin. You got what I'm saying? As history and science has showed and told the world, because it was public at one time on TV, has showed the world that most babies that had came out at one time from two first cousins sleeping together and producing a child, that the child had malfunctions, you know what I mean? The child had disorders, the child had, some things that was wrong. You know what I mean? But then when studies showed that it was a second or third or fourth or fifth cousin, you know what I mean? It showed that the child came out, less disabilities, less deformations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I say this to you. If you felt like your cousin is that man, your cousin is that woman, and it's second, third, fourth, fifth on down the line, you know what I mean? It's some in-law type stuff. Man, go for what you know. Please, Miss Lady, go for what you know. Love don't come in a color. Love don't come in a shape. Love don't always come in the same gender. Don't cheat yourself out of love. And if you let others dictate your movement, your outlook of life, then you ain't nothing but a drone. You a puppet. You got what I'm saying? You're someone that lives your life based off what others feel. And I get the part there's a structure to things. I get the part that there's a presentation of things. But how can you really present? What is really the presentation of love, but self for happiness, trust? You got what I'm saying? Happiness, trust, because trust falls under loyalty. You got what I'm saying? Understanding. If you trust them, you got to be understanding them. So I say this to you again, you know what I mean? Find yourself someone that understands you. Find yourself someone that picks you up, that motivates you. You feel me? Let's get back into this reading. Now it came to pass at the time for giving birth that behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was when she was giving birth that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, this one came out first. Then it happened as he drew back his hand that his brother came out unexpectedly, and she said, how did you break through? This breach be upon you. Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterward, his brother came out who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Zerah. That's the end of chapter 38. And it's a, it's a big one. It's a big chapter, you know what I mean? It's something that you need to read. It's something you need to think about. It's something that you need to really get a lot of understanding about, because, everything is supposed to be some type of presentation. Everything is supposed to be, some type of standard. And, sometimes, like I said, you don't find love in the same culture. You don't find that soulmate, in your culture. Sometimes you don't find your soulmate in your same gender. You got what I'm saying? So live your life, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to say that there's not a structure you should build. I'm not saying that, but there are some things that need to be torn down so that you can have great self-esteem about the decisions that you're making. Because if you in a sisterhood, you in a brotherhood, and majority of your brothers, majority of your sisters see you wrong, you start feeling guilty and you start taking that out on your partner. If you made that choice before you have discussed it. You got what I'm saying? So that means you're living you're living a lie, and then you're putting yourself around people that don't think like you. You know what I mean? Really are against you. Really feel that they know what's best for you. You got what I'm saying? And sometimes people don't know what's best for you. They don't know nothing. They could have been through some things you've been through and still don't know how to get you out the things that you're going through that they've been through. Sometimes they don't even know how they got to be in that pot of piss. You got what I'm saying? Can't even figure it. Can't even figure their way out. So think things through first before you put actions into it. And basically that's what I'm saying also. We should never regret our decisions. We should either, our decisions should be successful, or they should hinder. And if they're hindering you, you know what I mean, go back, revise it, go back, rethink it, go back, relook at it if it's worth to keep, trying to produce something out of it. If not, let it go, move on. It's a learning lesson, and it's a lesson in your life that you can help someone else with, that you come across that may be in that same venture, you know what I mean, that may going through those same issues, and they don't want to give up, but you may have the answer to get them over the edge. Anyway, anywho, I am the Nasty Pastor. We just finished up a chapter reading from Genesis, the book that Moses expired. And please go to my YouTube channel at the Nasty Pastor. Hit that subscribe button. Put a like somewhere. Put some comments there somewhere. And definitely share it. I'm out. I love you. It's been fun.